Okay, well, maybe this is working now. A couple of things that we need to bear in mind. Based on last week, let's make sure that everybody gets the opportunity to talk. That's the first thing. We don't need to monopolize the evening. We don't have that many people here tonight, but if everybody takes 2 hours to talk and it takes 8 hours to get through this, I'm going to be worn out.
I won't be here that long. I will be telling you goodbye, okay?
Exactly. So let's try to organize what you want to say and say it concisely. And secondly, let's establish a rule that nobody interrupts anybody else. Now, I'll be the moderator, and if it just gets to be absolutely insane and you're just carrying on, I might encourage you to give somebody else a chance to talk. I'm just saying we need to make sure that we don't interrupt somebody else when they're talking. That's kind of an important thing that we do. Other than that, any subject is open for discussion. You're more than welcome to talk about anything. Yeah, he'll be here. Looks like we got a couple people going to come in here too, so that's fine too. More the merrier. And one thing you might want to do before anybody talks at the podium over here is move that in a little bit because it's outside the camera. It needs to be moved this way. That'll work. That'll work good.
Move it back after our meetings and move it back after.
Is this good?
That's good. That's good.
Bless you.
Yeah, I'm ready to shut up. There's pizza back here.
And drinks, yeah.
Oh, you got water right there.
Well, here, give her that. That's unopened, ready to go.
It was never open.
And here's another unopened one if somebody else wants water.
I'm glad you came. I called you yesterday.
We
So,
thought Ernie was gonna do that.
I'm going to start the discussion a little bit off subject, a little bit, or whatever. Maybe it's on subject. I don't know. But one of the things that I've been noticing as of recent is there is just an obscene amount of yard signs and signs on public property, on telephone poles. That's just getting out of hand. It's starting. There are places where you have signs put here, and somebody comes and puts a sign in front of it, and our puts it in front of it. There's maybe 4 or 5 signs there, and you can only see the first one. We have ordinances against that, and I'm going to ask our code enforcer to start enforcing that. I'm going to ask our Parks Department as they see this, pick them up, get them out of there. That we do have a sign ordinance, and we need to it just looks like clutter to me when you have these signs scattered all over town. I just think it's just a problem. That's one thing that I wanted to talk about. Hello, come on in, have a seat. And pull us some more chairs here if you want to sit up here with the rest of the civilized folks. Come on, join us up here.
You can pull down the
How you
sign,
doing, Mark? Hey, Mark.
but make sure you call that number, or if there's an address, send it to the address and say, there is a sign, because most people don't know that.
We need to make it very clear that and I will talk about this in city council. I'm not going to make this mandated by myself. And this is something that we need to talk about, make sure everybody agrees with it. But quite honestly, it's just, it gets to be messy to have that many signs out. That's my 2
Especially
cents.
when they don't come back to take them down. Right.
Some of them are sacrilegious, some of them are religious, some of them are political, some of them are, I'll mow your lawn, I'll buy your bed, I'll sell you a bed. I mean, they're just, whatever.
Where are you seeing all these signs?
All over town,
Yeah.
all over town.
Coming in from Webster, going out of town.
Well,
There ain't any city park.
there is on the corner there on both entrances of City Park. Yes, look on the telephone poles that are right there. It's all over the place.
Yeah, I get to be 2 or 3 there. Come think of it.
Yeah.
The primaries are coming, that's why.
You know, and that's the interesting thing. I mean, there is freedom of speech. And I need to look at the ordinance. I need to read how the ordinance really reads. But come political season, it's expected that political candidates are going to put up a thing. But it's also customarily that once the election takes place, within a couple of days, the signs are picked up and gotten out of sight, out of mind.
An ordinance
There he is, we have to get him out before.
And I think it's the same ordinance that has to do with all the signs that we have here. I think if you want to have a yard sale as an example, it's perfectly fine to put up some signs, a yard sale this Saturday, but come Sunday, the signs need to be gone.
I didn't think you were allowed to put them
Right, you're not,
Right, I didn't
that's
think
their
you were allowed to
property.
put
And-
them on poles. You're not allowed to put them on
Right,
poles.
right. There is an attachment permit that the veterans actually got to put those posters on there recognizing the veterans. That was something that they got an attachment permit from the electric company. But most of these don't have attachment permits, and if they did, they'd meet certain criteria. They'd have to be at a certain height, they'd have to be certain specification, everything else.
They tried climbing those with all those nails and stuff in there, who knows?
Right.
what happened.
Right.
Of course, they used that bucket more than anything, but still.
Well, that was my first gripe for the night. Anybody, who else has got something they want to talk about? Come on up and, here, I'll tell you what, let's see if this mic is,
That works.
here, this works too. You can sit down and, whatever.
Wow.
I wanna stand up so they can
So you'd be seeing, right?
Now, you sit way over there, you're off the camera though. You need to be over here. Yeah, you're just barely in the camera right there.
cameras up there.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Smile on candid camera.
My name is Mark Coleman. I reside at 131 Reed Avenue, and I have a question about the blight and the priorities and how houses are picked. Because I have a house about 10 feet away from me. It was condemned by Larry Vitale in 1996.
Okay.
It's
Well, that's something we can talk about now or at council, but let me try to tell you what I know about this. The county basically, through much coaxing and whatever, they finally agreed to spend some $10.4 million in clean up Blythe in Westmoreland County. And Menneson has 2 of these qualified census tracts, and it's most of the town, to be real honest with you, that's got Blythe in it. But you can't just go up to a piece of property and say, I want to demolish this piece of property. You have to have legal right to this property. So originally, the very first year, the commissioners went to the Court of Common Pleas, and they convinced the Court of Common Pleas that you've been doing 50 houses per year countywide. And that would only be 5 or 6 houses in Menneson, some in New Kensington, some in Arnold, some in Jeanette's, wherever. But there was only 50 properties countywide that they would push through a judicial process where they physically say, you have not paid your taxes in so long, your house is in such ill repute, you either pay the taxes or we're going to take it away from you. And they literally take it away from you. When they do that, they exonerate all the taxes, all the liens except for federal liens, and it now belongs to the county. The first thing the land bank does is they say, I want that property, because they're the land bank, they have the power to do that. Once they do that, they have possession of the property, they can demolish it. But they were only able to do 50 of them per year. So the commissioners went to the Court of Common Pleas and convinced the courts to do 4 sales per year, not 1 sale, and do 100 or more properties each sale. So now we're moving 400 to 600 properties through this. The problem is we had elections. And the very first thing that happens, we have a new Court of Common Pleas and the new president of Court of Common Pleas and new rules that they're trying to follow. And they slowed it back down. Now, how much they've slowed it down, I don't know. To answer your question, that's the first problem you have with demolishing property, is having ownership of that property or a release. If you know somebody that has a piece of property that's blighted, they can do a couple of things. They can give it to a nonprofit, they can give it to the city, they can give it to Redevelopment Authority, and we can issue a release to get that property demolished. There's even some people that will come to us and say, if that property next door to me was cleaned off, the house gone, I would pay the taxes on that property, and I would do something with that property. That we will do it in that case. I mean, we'll give them the property to go with it. The bottom line is, we've got to have ownership. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I got calls from the county and said, why is there somebody living in this house that we want to demolish? I said, well, first off, think again. You're working in the most economically depressed area of the county. And it turns out that this is as economically depressed as any place in this country. There are people that are just barely able to pay taxes. Some of them not even able to pay taxes, but they're living in houses that some people would consider to be blight. You can't make them homeless. Unless you've got a solution for that, you can't make them homeless. So those are withdrawn from the possibilities. Then the next thing is it has to have a survey done by their standards that says that it is blighted. If you've got a house next to you, you need to go to this blighted and needs to go away. And although Vitel may have condemned it many years ago, go to Marvin and say, Marvin, go up there and tag this house. He'll take the address. He'll go up there. He'll enter it into Code Pro. He'll tag it with a green thing that says "Do not cross, do not enter, do not pass go," blah blah blah. And last but not least, he'll start the process that as soon as we can get control of that land, we'll do it. Now, if you own some blighted property and you want to get rid of it, we'll give you a form and you can fill it out and they'll come and demolish it. But you just can't take somebody's property and just demolish it.
Well, this is, somebody told me how to check, so it's definitely in repository, because they stopped tallying.
If it's,
okay. It's all zeros.
Okay, if it's in the repository, the land bank is in the process of working a deal out with the county, because it's two different branches of county where they can demolish that property.
Yes.
So-
But like I said, in the meantime, for years and years, we can't do nothing about it. Well, then, about 10 years ago, the letter came from the insurance company, so they cancel your insurance. You can't, here's a house where you can't have homeowner's insurance, you can't have fire insurance, because 10 feet next to you is a tinder box.
Oh my, yeah.
The whole front porch, the
Come,
columns collapsed, and the whole front porch came down. The edge of the porch is on our
You just have to make
fence.
sure it's on Marvin's list. You should
yeah,
check
you
with
really,
Marvin
we really
tomorrow.
need to get together with Marvin because
Make sure it's on that list.
Gutters and fascia is falling off the house, hitting our house.
now there's another way that you can get these properties demolished too, and this is something that the county's doing at 6 o'clock, I think it is, next Thursday. There will be a meeting right here, which is called the,
The demo hearing.
it's a demo hearing, that Marvin has put together a list of properties that he knows to be vacant, he knows to be abandoned, he knows to be, and whatever. And realistically, I won't go there right now. The bottom line is, Act 90 of the Third Class City Code allows for a city to notify the leaseholder, the lien holder, that we want that property demolished. And they can come before us and give some reason why it doesn't need to be demolished, because they're going to invest in it, they'll fix it up, or whatever. But chances are, most of these properties, because people have long since left the area or dead or whatever, the bottom line is we'll have a hearing next Thursday of properties that they're going to do the Act 90 stuff, and that allows us to authorize the county to come and demolish that property. In order to do that, they have to have all the title searches done, they have to do the notifications, they have to give proper time, then they have to have these hearings, and I think, I don't know how many hearings they have to, maybe one or maybe two, I don't know. But the bottom line is, there are literally, this from now till probably the end of summer, you'll probably see every month a demo hearing. And every month there'll get to be more and more properties that we're just simply saying, we've had enough, these properties have got to go. And
I've read the paper and I've heard that, like, the quality of life things now. I'm just putting my 2 cents worth in. Nobody wants to look at something across the street, but
Well, you're right.
don't you think the first houses that should be,
Next
if
to
it's a
people.
house with a vacant lot on each side, but when it's a house that's right next door to a nice house, shouldn't that be the priority?
it should.
See that,
But work with Marvin. Marvin's the one's preparing the list, and our solicitor is taking those lists. He's ordering the title searches. He's notifying everybody, and he's the one that conducts the demo hearings.
Get with
Okay,
them
thank
tomorrow,
you.
Mark.
Excuse me, Mark, what's the address of the property?
127 Reed Avenue.
127.
It was on the front page of the Valley Independent before Lou was mayor. It was like the poster child for blight. It was right on the front page.
Is that when you come up
come down
Second
Second Street, and then there's like the dead end, you have to turn down Reed.
Okay, now, I don't know what Loretta's last name is, but I think Loretta lives on, is it across from a church?
No,
It's not across from a church? Okay,
No.
then it's a different block.
it has aliases. The Tinder Box, 1313 Mockingbird Lane, Menneson's biggest birdhouse.
House on Ohio Hill? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
Thank
you
you.
know, we have one opportunity to get it right, and we really need to do everything we can to get it right this time, because never again will we have an opportunity to remove as much blight as we have right now. It's just a matter of identifying what is blight and what is not blight, and using one of those techniques I just said, the courts, the permission, the demo hearings, one of those methods to get control of it where we can demo it.
Oh, I had a question. I noticed that they have torn down one house that's on Knox by the Elks. Are they gonna take care of the next one?
Those two, right, I think they're gonna get, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're getting both of them. I'm pretty sure they're coming down, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Then it'll be all the way empty till the
Oh,
church.
so, yep.
There's lots, everybody's gonna get a chance.
Okay, this meeting is supposed to be about generating business activity.
To you, maybe.
Well, that's what I thought this was about.
Well, it's about everything.
Whatever issues people have to bring before council.
Okay, so where we're at with businesses now. Not long ago, we had the Chamber of Commerce, or supposed a Chamber of Commerce meeting. And there's only two people that showed up there that are here, me and Larry. So where are the other people at that they claim that they want to go forward with generating business activities?
Well, we gotta build some sort of excitement, and it's up to the business community to do that.
All I know is that if we don't get the business portion to generate some economic activity, we're not going to do anything. We're just
Yeah,
going to
it's
wait.
not, it's not all about the Chamber of Commerce either. The Chamber of Commerce is very important, and I hope that the businesses get together and do it. There is something else going on that we're gonna be talking about more and more that has to do with a group called Civis. Civis is a guy by name of David Feehan, who, not our David Feehan of Menneson, but David Feehan of Maryland, who's putting together a panel of very expert people. And I'm talking about people from the Allegheny Conference that we went up and did our bus tour with, that basically helped Pittsburgh turn the corner. It's talking about people like CMU that we also went up and met with. We're talking about people like the Pittsburgh Foundation. The point being is there's five very qualified people that want to help divine Menneson. What their plan is to come into town sometime in probably July. They'll come in on a Thursday or Friday. They'll be meeting with Town Hall like we're doing here. They'll be meeting with City Hall. They'll be going around to businesses, talking to businesses. They want to understand what Menneson is. And then they're going to go out and they're going to start looking for people to invest in Menneson. And that's what they're trying to do. But it will be a team of about 5 people that really understand how to get investment to come into town. It'll be people that have experience in doing it. And what they want to do is with the endorsement of the city and of the council.
I'd like to continue here.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, you bank too much on government agencies and bodies.
That's not government, but okay.
The point is this. If we cannot pull our own pants up here, I'm not going to expect some outsider to come in and pull my pants up for me.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And that's what you're doing. And I have no faith in outsiders doing anything. We had, how many outsiders came? That Indian guy came and he took over the old city hall. He was going to bring 200 employees there. That was 8 years ago. And what happened? So,
It was stopped.
Well, you could say stop, but the guy wasn't 100% sincere to begin with.
You don't know that.
I talked to him. I interacted with
Did he
him.
tell you he wasn't sincere?
He told me double speak, and that's how you find out. When somebody talks on both sides of their mouth, they're not being sincere. Anyway, the point is, we have to find who in our town could get together and generate some sort of a direction and purpose and go for a project. It has to be here.
That's what Chamber of Commerce
Well,
can do.
Well, not just chamber, you started this meeting, and that's what we should be generating.
Right? Well,
Okay? If we're gonna go off of different
hand me that
subjects,
mic.
if we're gonna go off the different subjects,
Ernie, you know yourself that people from Menneson do not support Menneson business.
well,
That's
we
what
have-
Ernie, that's what I was getting ready to say. The main purpose is always starting at home, but if you can't get help from the people at home, you let other people who are willing to help you.
Yeah, but
a lot
this-
of times events take place in Menneson where you got people from everywhere else coming to Menneson, so you're gonna take
Okay,
who's willing
listen,
to help.
all I know, I've been through a lot in life, and all I know is when us outsiders want to come in to do, quote, some good, they have ulterior motives.
Well, help me change that then, Ernie.
Well, that's why I come to this meeting.
Okay?
Okay, I'm trying to get together.
So
with
who
people.
did you bring?
I didn't bring anybody.
That's the point.
The thing is that we have to start talking about who comes to this meeting that is involved with business and how we could form a force that we could do something that instead of just sitting around and waiting for government to do
Well,
something.
that sounds like
It's not
the
government.
Chamber of
No.
Commerce. Let's get the business.
Well, they're
together.
talking about knocking down blight areas. That's government. Okay?
That's part of government, but you gotta realize this, Ernie. Things don't happen overnight. It takes time.
It's been years. Nobody's doing nothing for years.
How do you know?
What do you mean, how you know? All you have to
what's
do is
going on behind the scenes?
You see what Menneson looks like? What do you mean, how do I know?
I see a lot of buildings.
I see a lot of
going
change.
down.
Excuse me, Menneson has been like this for how many years?
That's right.
About 30.
It happened overnight.
About 30.
This didn't just happen,
No.
it's been like this, let me see, I was gone for 40 years, so it's been like that ever since 1970, say, 8.
Since the mills went down.
Anyway.
You can't go by that, so it doesn't.
I just hope we could start concentrating in, with the people who do show up.
What tools do we really have? We could say from 3rd Street to 9th Street, Donner to Schoonmaker becomes a economic development zone. We will freeze the taxes at what they are right now today at that point for 5 years. You come in and invest, your taxes, you build a nice new building there, your taxes aren't going to go up for 5 years. We can do things like that. That's the way cities can entice businesses to come into town. Those are things that we need to coordinate and do.
Isn't that what was done by near the bridge?
Yes,
It worked there.
right.
And slowly but surely, Ernie, people are coming.
By
Look,
what-
Santori just
By
came.
what bridge?
Oh, she's
The
talking-
Charleroi Bridge, all the Farnham and File. That was Farnham and File had an opportunity. That's what the brownfield stuff. They were an industrial park that had the taxes reduced for 10 years or something.
Yeah, but who's in that building?
Right now, nobody, but it was occupied up until just a few months ago.
Okay, one question, Ernie, you lived here all your life. And this has been going on all your life since you've been.
24 years I lived in, 24 years I lived in Pittsburgh.
Okay, but what our founding fathers built, this town, it was our, we were supposed to enhance what they left for us. And we didn't enhance it, we let it fall down around us, and nobody did anything. And I've been back here through 4 administrations, and I've heard the same crap. So, like I'm
Happened over
saying, we were supposed to enhance it, and we let it go to dust.
If I had had a
All
lot
you
of money, I
things
could have
could
done
say.
something, huh? I could have built something.
But the lottery number is up to 250 million now. It comes down
Yeah,
to
well,
Mars.
let somebody else talk for a few minutes.
Oh, you can come up here.
So this is my question. The people that purchased these houses that were basically dilapidated, what are the stipulations? Because there was one purchase, 2 doors down from me.
Are
I
you talking
put,
about exoneration ones?
whatever,
The ones
yeah.
exonerated ones?
What, it looks worse now than it did. They didn't do one thing all last year. It looks horrible. I put a lot of money into my house, and I'm just not appreciating what's going on there. First, I was like, oh, good, good, good. No. It's falling down in the front, and I believe, I just came down the hill, because I just got here, thank goodness Linda told me about the meeting. And somebody is putting trash as you come down, what is that little hill off?
Parkway?
Yeah,
They're probably trying to block the police from setting up there giving people tickets.
it's not in the street, it's
Yeah, this is yard.
It's on the side, it's on, yeah, it's right there, someone, and it's clearly someone that's renovating, and I'm like, okay, this is not, this is not a dump.
It's not in front of a property, it's just on that.
There's no
Parkway.
dump, no, there's no property.
Yeah, see?
But it's not in the street. It's not in the street, no. But I wanna know, what is the stipulation, because if he's not going to fix it, it needs to be torn down.
Right, right. I don't know exactly where you're talking about, but just as a general rule,
64, my house is.
we have
64.
code enforcement, and code enforcement is really what we've got to use.
That's my house, you're 2 down. Dennis Wade is next on the alley, you know where the alley is there?
Right.
Okay, I'm here, there's a house,
You said 640?
It's
that's
Dennis's
my house.
and then that
Well,
house.
Dennis's house is almost as bad. And then there's another house, but you'll see it because everything's falling down. And he bought that house a couple of years ago. It looks worse now.
Well, and unfortunately, people can buy and sell houses without approval of city council or anybody else. That is
No,
between
no,
two
but
parties.
this was through the city.
It must have been through the exoneration.
Yeah.
That had to been something the prior administration did. And a lot of,
It was just
don't
like
we-
2 years ago.
Yeah,
Well,
but
that was-
yeah, but
Yeah.
they have like a year, right? So it's been longer
Right.
than a year.
Yes,
They're
and it
they're
looks worse
required
now.
within a year to make.
So who would get after them?
our code enforcement.
enforcement?
Okay.
If you have the house number, you should call down tomorrow with the
I'll
house
call
number.
Marvin.
Yeah, call Marvin, talk to Marvin.
On the Honey Hill,
Yeah, it looks like Honey Hill,
that
yeah.
house on the Honey Hill was bought from a realtor that I think was in California. Cause it was on, it was on that list. And in order for that person who bought it to get that property, he had to go through the realtor that owned it. Cause I researched that house. And whoever bought it from the realtor.
I didn't think it was on
Because initially
there.
it was bought probably about 4 or 5 years ago.
No, it wasn't bought, no. It's been sitting there. No. As a matter of fact, well, I won't say what I heard, but anyway, either way, somebody has to get after them. It's crazy. And then.
We got
Get
enough
the
problems in
house
this town. We
number
need
and
much
call
bigger
Marvin
code
tomorrow.
enforcement than we've got, but yes.
Get her number, so. you can
No,
go
I'm
to
gonna
Marvin.
call.
Yeah, just call
I'm gonna
Marvin, yeah.
Call Marvin,
Marvin.
yeah.
I mean, he's just one person.
Well, there's Lloyd. Lloyd will help him too. Lloyd's there to help him.
Okay.
Come on up. Well, here, no, come grab the mic then, so we can. Go take her. Take her the mic. Take her the mic.
Everybody's afraid.
I,
Okay. Just a comment. The demolition committee or the meetings,
mm-hmm.
I would suggest that you advertise that or put it in the paper.
It is.
More than just one day. Just more than one day, because not all of us get the paper every day or do Facebook or, any of the websites. So if you do it maybe 5 days in a row, like a lot of places have to do that to notify somebody, do it at least 5 days. So if you pick up the paper on Wednesday, you might see it. So just don't depend upon one little ad like tonight's
Well,
meeting.
anybody that's property that's involved will get a letter too. Does that
Well,
mean
this
anything?
this is more than just property owners, or you may not even see it or pay attention to it. You get so much junk mail, you might just discard it. So make it known well in advance, several days in advance, because you've got to be embarrassed by Menneson. And this has been going on for 40 years or so. And I think you're trying to do the best you can now, trying to help 40 years worth of neglect. So kudos to you. My other comment would be, maybe you might need a citizens committee. I mean, law enforcement, your code enforcement guys, they have a job to do. You have so many tasks to do. You can only spread yourself around so far. So maybe, some of these concerned citizens, get them as a task force, a citizens task force, that they can go out into the communities, go up to property owners who live next to a blighted property, talk with them so they can come back and meet with you. You just can't do it by yourself. You can't rely upon one code enforcement person. So that would be my suggestion. You have some people here that are really dedicated to doing something good for the community, for Menneson. So maybe get them involved as a task force, a community, a citizens task force.
We actually have a blighted property review board that is really defined to help do that. Maybe, so if you get a chance, come see me and we'll let you know where that board is and get you on that board.
Because obviously they do not drive around Menneson.
Well, they have, because I've been with them when they've done it.
Mayor, excuse me, but Ernie and I give you more about Menneson than I ever seen any blighted committee do. We bring you everything
I-
we see in the street, and we don't even have to go anywhere to look for it. We just happen to run into it.
Maybe we need to get you with the Code Pro, get you where you can actually enter this in so the county sees it.
I'm in every
Everything.
meeting, and I give you, you don't want no more from me, because you couldn't. So I give it to you all the time, and you know it. So,
And I do appreciate it.
You need a community advocate. So there you go.
And I-
I don't think you can plan on. I don't think you can plan on having, bringing in businesses until you build up the base for that people are living here. You need more people, like, there's streets here that are empty. It seems like you should start developing neighborhoods that would entice people that have a real pension or a real retirement and can pay some taxes to come in.
Right.
Because otherwise,
But it's the
just
chicken and the
saying-
egg. It's the
Yeah.
chicken and the egg. You got to have both of them really coming together at about the same time. People aren't going to want to live here unless they have a place to work. You're not going to have any place to
Well,
work
I'm
unless you have
talking-
people living
no,
here.
it needs to be based on retirement people, because there is nowhere to work.
Well, but
There's
the-
not gonna be a job that's going to maintain that. I feel like
One of the,
you can make it, there's so many people that are retired and have a real pension or whatever, but you have to, just like they built those houses where the school used to be,
Mhm.
it's not a neighborhood. They didn't put up fences, trees, nothing. It just was a house here, house here, house here.
And that
You
was
have to
not
build a
affordable.
neighborhood and make it really nice to make, and say, oh, look what we have, and start marketing the town as a great place to retire. And on the same note, you gotta talk to whoever sets these taxes, because the taxes are too high for what you get. They cannot get any higher, because you're never gonna have anyone here.
well,
As a
they
matter of
can't.
fact,
We're at the max. You
it-
can't go any higher.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any difference, because even if you aren't at the max, we're paying taxes like we live in a big city.
Yeah, and I don't even know what it's
And there is
based on,
nothing
you know,
here.
it's because,
Just because we have 5 buildings full of people who cannot pay tax. 5 buildings full of non-tax-paying people.
and that's just the buildings. There's a lot of people living in single-family homes. Not to mention the people that have children in the schools that never have to pay a penny because we're paying it. I've never had children, obviously I won't. So why am I paying for their children. They should have to pay something.
I agree with that too. 100 years ago, I was, when I first came
Gonna
back.
take-
to
see if anyone
Menneson, I
back
was
there,
on
Ernie.
welfare. And it took a long time to even get on welfare. Had 3 young kids, and my mother and dad had no children. They were paying taxes, and I even talked to the people at welfare. I should be assessed some money, a small amount of money, anything and everything will help. I have 3 children in school, and I'm paying no taxes. That's not fair to my parents. They haven't had kids for years.
I've never had.
Okay, Nan.
Again, but it's just not right, and I know I didn't have a lot of money, but if it was only $5,
Exactly.
It
So,
should have been
Nancy,
something.
What year did you move back?
70?
The 70s. Okay.
We were still booming then.
Yeah. We were
We were
slightly
still booming. No, the mill wasn't down.
Oh, it was down when I came back.
It wasn't then, because I graduated in 73, and it went down like in 72, the year before I graduated.
Well, it was already, then I lied. I wasn't 70, it must have been after that. It just seems like I've been here forever.
And that's another thing too. When she got out of school and I got out of school, we had better education from Menneson
That's
High
right.
School
It was
than
better.
some of the colleagues that I met when I moved to Virginia that had 4 years of college.
We found
Well,
that
no,
out.
back then, when kids came from like Charlotte or wherever and came to Menneson, they were held back because we were ahead of them.
Yep.
We had a very good school system.
So now it's totally like, we're not gonna get families with young children moving here because our
School
school
system.
system is so messed up.
Well, we don't want any families unless they can pay taxes.
Do the high rises pay property tax?
No,
Well, the owner of the building does, doesn't he?
no, this county.
Oh, it's a county outright.
Yeah, they don't pay diddly squat.
That's what I'm saying, and they
Anything
get,
that's subsidized does not pay taxes.
correct,
That's crazy.
and they don't pay
That's
for
why we're
water,
poor.
they don't pay for sewage,
They
they don't
pay
pay for
none.
Please
electric.
don't mention sewage.
Oh,
$84.
Pass the mic back there to somebody back there. Let somebody back there talk.
Well, Ernie is the,
Mic deliverer guy?
liaison.
I gotta walk out this pizza.
Well, you want to walk by the pizza again is what you really want to do.
Who determines that the high rises?
Okay, Larry's gonna start.
All right, I'm gonna talk. Larry Mandarino, 1187 State Road, Menneson. I just wanted to thank the mayor and council. I think we've been doing a good job. Getting the Fifth Avenue Hotel out and the other buildings has been a big progress for Menneson. And that's where you gotta start. The more that comes out of there, the better we're gonna be. And you're on the right track. And they shouldn't always be putting Menneson down. We're doing, I think, a little better than Duquesne or Clairton. There's some of these other towns that have the same problems as we have. When the mills left, we all know that that was the downfall of all of our towns, from Pittsburgh to us. That was our downfall. I did read
The mill's leaving.
one thing in the Pittsburgh paper a while back. They said that the problem that you want to work from the alley, it sounds funny, but they work from the alleys out. It's in your alleyways that people throw garbage. And it starts in the alleys. Clean up your alleys and work out. They dump everything. And it sounded funny, but then I thought, I think they're right.
It's the truth.
It starts in the alleys
It's the truth.
and goes up backwards.
I agree 100%.
Anybody else here?
You can't, it's the truth.
It's awful.
You don't have any?
That's the truth.
Run up in a sty.
That's right, you can speak.
I agree with him. You folks have been doing a good job getting rid of so many buildings that should have been demolished years ago.
Many more to come.
Good. I do have a question. Maybe 9-10 years ago, when we were down at the other building, you had an outside concern come in and do it like a survey or a proposal. I don't remember their name, something about rivers and all that, and what to do about the entrances to the town. And what did it cost? What, $40,000 for that survey, maybe more? Whatever happened with that information?
I couldn't tell you.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
That had to
though?
be the very first comprehensive plan that they did. I really don't know.
Nobody remembers that. Do you remember that?
But I remember it, but when you don't follow through with your plan, it never comes to
The
fruition.
problem is a different administration.
It was a different, it was, but that $40,000 or $140,000, I just sat there and thought, wow.
You know,
with
one of
that
the
study, you could have been knocking down some buildings with that money. But
right.
I just wanted to know whatever happened.
I don't know how to answer your question because I really don't know. But I will say one thing. Brian Lawrence is the chairman of the Westmoreland County Redevelopment Authority. He also is the top dog for the land bank. He's because of the way that they're doing the judicial I described to you, they were getting all these properties so they could do the demolition. Well, what they're ending up with is they're ending up becoming a major landowner. Well, they don't want to be a landowner. They don't know how to deal with it. So what they did is they went to CMU, to Hines College, and they got a bunch of graduate students that were working on their thesis to come into Monessen and meet with the Planning Commission, the Blighted Property Review Board, all the different things that we've got going, and the Nehemiah Project, trying to figure out how the county can give that land back to the city and what we can do with it in a productive way. And the thing that I really like is this young people. I'm getting old, and I understand it. But I look at these young people, and they are our future. And you have these young people coming in. They've got new ideas. They got ways of doing things that are different than us old guys do. And it just excites me to no end that I look at these young people. They started go to thecityofmonessen.com. And on the home page, scroll down a little bit. There'll be a thing that talks about this town hall meeting. Right below that is it'll be a link. It says CMU Hines College. Click on that and watch it. It's an hour long. But it really talks about these students talking about what they can do for Monessen. These are CMU graduate students.
They don't come down here.
They did, and they will be back. Yeah, and they'll be back. No.
Here at, what was that? The Nehemiah meeting.
It was Nehemiah or one of the Blighted Property Review Board meetings. But the bottom line is, watch that and look at it because it talks about all the things that we're talking about here. How do we get businesses coming in here? How do we fix the school system? How do we get rid of more blight? How do we build new homes here? It's all these things that they're really trying to do. The point being is, these are some bright minds that have some ideas. I think we ought to pay attention to them.
Yeah, but they wrote their thesis, they graduated, and that was the end of it.
It might be, but we should benefit from that. You might be right.
Well, that it should be made public.
Someone else to pick up.
Yeah, it's on the city webpage. That's their midterm report. They will have a final report here in a couple months, and they'll answer all the questions that they presented in this one.
They're gonna come here to Monessen again?
They will be here in Monessen again.
Well, that's like picking your brains. It's a great idea.
All it is ideas of young people. I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm just saying we ought to pay attention to them.
Well, we put all this stuff on the internet. Everybody doesn't have internet.
You're right.
We gotta give the message out some other kind of way.
Well, if you were wanting, I'll set up a projector and we can watch it for the next hour. It'd take me 30 minutes to get set up, but I mean, I'm just saying.
When they come in to discuss things like we're talking about, I think it should be advertised.
Yeah.
Somewhere on a poster outside where people can see it. Everybody's not on the internet, and some people that are over some 60 don't even go on the internet. So we're missing the crucial people that need to know this.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with you. Help us. It's like the email I copied you on today from the county planning, Daniel Carpenter. He's a Westmoreland County planner. thing. And what they've got is some money set aside. They're doing a survey right now to determine, are the bus routes in Westmoreland County serving the people? And he's basically, it's a survey asking people to say, okay, would I ride a bus? And if I did, where would I want to go with this bus, from here to where? And what they're trying to do is define a new thing for routes. They want to change the bus.
Times
If
and
you,
everything.
you get,
That's the transportation issue too, that's why.
and that's why I sent you a copy of it.
We're talking about the rail system and getting a commuter train in there, so we can get those people from Pittsburgh who are paying $3,000 and $4,000 a month rent to move here, and they can commute back and forth from the train.
Well, and
Here now, I've heard so many of them say, I'm like, well, why don't you just get a job? There are jobs. There's no jobs here. I said, that bus at the bottom of this hill
Take it to
takes
Pittsburgh.
you right into Pittsburgh.
Yep.
I live in Virginia. I go, and that's the problem. I think some people have only ever lived here. They don't see the whole
Right.
world
Yeah.
and how things are done.
Very small.
There are some people that is 2.5 hours to work and 2.5 to get home. And they're driving or paying big money to do it. And here, they're of the mindset, there's nowhere to work. Pittsburgh is right there.
And the bus will take you there.
well, look at Cannonsburg. Cannonsburg was just a little bitty dot on the map on the side of the highway. People figured out, you know what, I can live over here and I can work in Pittsburgh. It's a bedroom community. It's a bedroom community. We're 43 has got funding and the go-ahead to extend that all the way into wherever it's going. They're taking it much further on the other end. The point,
A new breed of people here.
exactly.
Because everything is free in life. Everything is free.
Got to figure out a ways them to come. Let's get rid of the blight. Let's build up a better Menneson. And let's promote it.
We have to make it inviting, because there's really nothing
That's why I
here,
said
so
you
we
have
have
to
to,
develop these neighborhoods.
yes.
And the school district is real bad. The families won't move here. Menneson is 549 out of 589 in the state of Pennsylvania.
That's pathetic.
But that too can change too.
Like I'm saying,
I
they,
mean, just
they
like
should
moving
have,
down, it can come
well,
back.
you should go to school board meeting.
I know, they're real tight. 3 minutes, you're out.
Well, that's not
No,
good
they
enough
didn't
for
give me
you.
a time limit. There was no time limit on my conversation when I went up there on Tuesday. I told them when
Well,
I
there
had
is with
time.
me. Next time we'll go, you see.
There was only 3 of us up
Okay,
there, and that's
I'll
what it is.
talk, and you'll see how they limit me.
But it still all comes back to getting a different base of people. Because if you get young working people that have children, then there's no children there, first of all. That's why nothing's going on. Oh my God, I can't believe there's like no one at the school, and we're paying these taxes.
Right.
More people, I mean, we would have another football team again, we were so good at
We don't have a
football.
band either.
Oh, that's the saddest. They're
Yeah,
not
no
allowed-
band.
No music, no
That's not
art,
enough kids to have.
no plastic, nothing.
Yeah, so you have to get a different base of people.
Well, this
So you gotta build these neighborhoods and promote it.
Yes, and that's what I talked to Garrett for, Mr. Drummond, when he was temporary superintendent. In order for you to get the kids interested in something, you have to show them what's out there. Our school doesn't do that. I've never seen a black teacher up at that school. They know nothing about black history. They don't even know how to multiply, add, subtract,
Again,
and write their name, so, you
they're
know what I'm saying?
emphasizing behaviorism, how to make the kid obedient and, compliant
I
with
think
authority.
that is not the school's authority to do that.
Get
Well,
that.
there
That's
should
the
be,
parents' authority.
a pushback.
Starts with the parents, and they are not
Right.
doing it,
Well, the
to
parents
be
are dumb.
obvious.
The new breed of parents are dumb.
I agree, have some.
Hand the mic or somebody.
Just a quick question. Just a quick question. You said the superintendent was, from the school board was gonna be here at one of these meetings?
No, I invited him. I invited him.
Okay. Hold on 1 second here, Ernie. Is the school board aware that they've reached their limit on the taxes that
Well, they
people's
can
willing
keep
to
going,
pay?
they can keep going. They have no limit like the city,
I know that.
yeah.
Well, they do have a limit up, but it's a much higher limit than the city.
They need to know that people are reached the limit on what they're willing to pay.
I think that they're pretty well aware of that. But it's up to us to vote because we can change that. And I think that it is changing. You've got 4 new school board members that are new. You got a new superintendent. Things can change there. We have to give them a chance to change, but things can change. Then you voted the wrong people into office.
I didn't vote for any of them.
Well, then you need to. You got no voice if you don't vote.
You don't vote,
You don't vote.
get in.
Go ahead.
Hello.
You got the mic. You can overtalk them.
I went to school here, and we did have a black teacher, Mrs. White. She was a black teacher here, Mrs. White, years ago. I went to school right here. I had her. I don't know, but there was one here, and she did teach here. But I'm saying, yeah, I know, but there was one. There was a black teacher here. Yeah.
In my lifetime, and I
Well, there was one. Yeah.
when I left.
But you have to get people in our community involved.
Yes.
I'm like Jewel. I live in Maryland. I'm traveling back and forth all the time here. So, you have to get people involved. Senior citizens don't know nothing about the internet. I know. So if we can get the people here to just put flyers at people's houses, get people to come out and talk to you, so you can hear, "Look, this is not good here. There's less than maybe 20 people here."
Well, there was more this meeting.
Yeah, this and the last one, 'cause it's almost double.
We have
now.
we have to get people in Menneson involved in these meetings, and you have to advertise them more too. I just haven't seen it because I read the paper every day. But a lot of people don't read. I am from Menneson. I'm from right here. Went to school right here. Graduated right, Nina. Went to school right here. Yeah. Went to school right here. Graduated right here. But we have to get
Maybe.
more
I'm-
people involved.
Already, we got more people when we get in a
That's
city
what we have
council
to
meeting.
do.
What if since you guys, what if we made up flyers, would you guys be willing to go knock on some doors and then say, hey, we're inviting you to come to the town meeting?
I'd love to
Guys,
see
like,
this
what if
packed
you
up,
did-
and we'll change venues. We'll find a
What if-
place hold more
We
people.
tell people, everybody bring one. Why can't we each make a commitment, at least bring 1 or 2 people?
I talk to people every day, you know what they tell me? There's nothing gonna change.
Yeah, and it won't if that's the kind of mentality that you have. But yet you want to complain and be apathetic to what happens.
I'm driving in, it's 5:45, she tells me there's a meeting 6:30, I said, I should be able to make it.
I know
Good
people
job.
that you feel that will come. There are people that you know that aren't told about the meetings. I know there are people that would come, but you got to address those people. Those people that say it's never going to change, don't even ask them. It's not going to change. Get those people that you know 50-50 might
They
come.
don't understand, when I come down here and run my mouth to the mayor and city council, I'm not doing it for me.
Right.
I'm doing it for
That's it.
everybody in Menneson, because I can just pick up and go back to Maryland where I was. But since I'm here, and I've been here, and this is the place where I am going to be till I die, then I'm not gonna sit here and not do anything.
Good.
I think
Let
we
me
should.
comment on that. Over the years, I've written a number of letters to the editor,
Yes, he has.
asking people,
Come.
begging people to come
Yeah.
to council meetings.
I know you have
Now,
that. I read 'em
I
all the
know
time.
people read letters to the editor.
Yes,
Yep.
definitely do.
What I find at fault with this newspaper and their reporting of council meetings, and I told the owner this too, and he didn't like it. He sent me a letter that went up one side of me and down the other. If he said the council meetings are for city business, and my contention was the council meetings are for the people. And I'm not blaming the reporter, and I'm not sort of blaming the editor, but they never, well, I shouldn't say never, rarely put a comment in there at the end of the meeting, say there was a good comment from somebody. Never appears in the paper. All that appears is the mayor said this and they voted on this, But that section at the end of a council meeting where it says public comments, rarely does that editor or that journalist permit comments from the public. And some of those comments, not mine especially, but some of those comments are very interesting. So I'm blaming the local paper.
One of the things that,
I mean, now, they'll say everything that went on at the meeting. We approved this, the mayor said this, et cetera, end of subject. They don't say, oh, Ernie brought this up, which is very interesting. Or Ed said, why doesn't the mayor go down and talk to the owner of the building down there, the old health center? None of that ever appears. None of it.
Are you sure that they're told not to report?
they're not told not to report.
They're not allowed?
No, they're not told that.
No, you know what they told me? They have so much, just a limited number of space for these reports. But I remember one report that took almost a page, and that was when some gentleman got up and talked, and he started using foul language, and that article went on and on and on.
Well, not only that, Ed, I was all on Facebook. I blasted all on Facebook. Okay, but my point is, if you want to see a newspaper, you go back into the archives of the Old Valley Independent. There's a whole list of, I figured out from 1950, I only went to the 50s, 1950s, I found out a slew of information from the newspaper.
Okay, this meeting tonight, if it's reported on, it should take a full page.
But it's not because he's gonna put it on YouTube, so everything we say is gonna be on YouTube,
Again,
but it's
I
not gonna be in
don't watch
print.
YouTube.
I don't either.
I don't get most of my information
But
through
if you
technical
can see the
means.
difference of the reporting back in the old newspaper and now.
That's when they had a newspaper, a real newspaper.
Well,
Yeah, that's right.
true.
They had good writers too.
3
back then.
pages.
I mean, he had in there who went to the hospital, who had a birth, what auxiliary had a meeting, how many people were there, what church
What
organization
child's
did
birthday
it.
party?
Yes. Everything you wanna know about Menneson was in
The
that
people.
newspaper.
But we need substance, you know, like,
There was no substance to that.
One of the things
I
that,
agree.
just as, this is me talking now, just because this is what I truly believe. The third-class city code, city council is a law-making organization. We sit up here, we make law. That's what we do. Now, before we do this, we have to put it on an agenda. And we have to post this agenda 24 hours in advance. We put it on the front door. We put it on the internet, on the city page. So the agenda is posted. The very first thing we do is we allow people to talk about agenda items because we're making law up here. If somebody looks at this and says, you're going to make a law that says that you can't cross the street on 3rd Street, you say that's ridiculous. That makes no sense. And you convince us to do that. That's what that purpose is for. At the end of the meeting, we offer for any subject. In my mind, that should be things that city council can use for future meetings. Something, you come up with ideas, you give us ideas of things that we need to do. We put it on an agenda in a future meeting and we talk about it at that time. That's the value I see of the open comments at the end. This town hall is outside of all of that. This town hall is an opportunity for people to say what's on their mind, to go on any subject. We're not making law. We don't have a full council up here. 2 people can't make law. It takes 3. I mean, that's the reason why we're getting here tonight. Everybody can say what's on their mind.
okay, then.
And we have a newspaper publisher right here in our midst. You publish this in your newspaper. Maybe you set the trend.
Well, my newspaper has a high vocabulary. So I would say 2/3 of the public cannot read it. And I have people that told me that it takes them 2 weeks to go through my paper.
That's so many pictures in it.
Give them the mic.
Back to notification of the citizens of what, town meetings and whatnot, why can't the city budget a digital sign?
To be honest with you, our budget is so tight, we can't even hardly sneeze. And the budget's made public. You can get a copy of the budget. There's just no spare money in that budget. We don't have enough. What is the number one complaint I hear about in the city?
Potholes.
Exactly, it's the roads. The roads are horrendous. When was the last time the city fixed a road?
It's been like that for years.
But the point being is the city hasn't had a capital project in long since before I was here. The only time that the roads get fixed is when the county does CDBG money. Yeah, the CDBG money comes along and you can budget money. This year, we're gonna do the bottom part of Third Street, coming down from Third Street Extension all the way down to Schoonmaker.
And CDBG money was never allowed down that far.
On this side of Third Street. I mean, but CDBG can be used anywhere in the city right now.
That's what I know, but we still have ARC money, don't we?
We do.
Yeah, so what
Yeah,
we're
well, how
gonna do
come ARC couldn't do what?
Digital.
Oh, I don't need them, I got it.
Well, but use it because if you're gonna,
Okay, what Jim just said, why can't we get a digital sign?
Yeah, that'd be good.
put together a fundraiser, raise some money, and put up a digital
Why
sign.
can't we use ARC money? We pay enough taxes, I'm sorry, we pay enough taxes for this town. And I'm sure that they can up and get an electronic sign.
Doesn't have to be a big one.
No, it can be big as the one that, the phone center store
Josh.
has.
Josh.
Josh has.
No, bigger than that. That's small. Because he has to post everything that's
Well,
going
we
on.
need a whole one that sits on our, and they're not that much money, they're probably about $15,000-$16,000.
They're probably not that much. The one they're getting better and cheaper all the time.
Well, yeah, but you need it on some type of brick platform.
Hey, well,
Where are you gonna
we're
put
that
this?
too, yeah.
And where you can put it?
You can put it
Right by
at
City
either
Hall
end of
somewhere.
town. You can buy two, one goes to this end and one goes to that end.
There was a time several years ago when they
That's not the point, don't we have a sign down there where Cherokee used to be? Don't we have a billboard, what's that? We have a bulletin board.
Board down there.
that's the Chamber of Commerce board.
We don't have a Chamber of Commerce.
But I'm not the Chamber of Commerce. I can't go put it on there.
It's the city of Menneson board.
It's the Chamber of Commerce board.
No, there is no Chamber of Commerce.
Get it built, go in and take it over. I don't know, but it's not my board. I can't do anything with it.
They're not using
Well, that's what
Brighter.
I'm saying, well, that's a start. But what I'm saying, it could be one down on that side of North, 906 and on this
One
side.
up by the
As you
bank.
come in.
East and west.
By the bank,
Or is
there's
that north and
sign.
south?
Oh, who knows?
I think it's north and south.
There is another one of those billboard or signs by the.
Yeah, it's right by
They
the.
come across from Valley First, yeah, there's one there.
Oh, we
There's
never
one
did
across
a-
from,
No,
I know
we
those
can
are
put
Chamber,
the electronic sign down there where it says welcome to Menneson.
well, as you come across the bridge.
And the other one can come
Where
off
that
the
old one
906
is.
down there before you come
And
into
I always
where
look at
my
that.
village is.
Cause I always thought that should be
Or,
replaced.
we could just tear down the Chamber of Commerce sign because they should be no longer in existence because we're building a new one and put it right there.
Yeah, who owns that property? I don't know.
Well,
Can you find out?
Yeah, I can.
and
I,
don't tell me, that when I come Thursday, don't tell me it's Chamber of Commerce.
It's probably city.
I don't know where those words might
it might be. It might be.
It's ours.
It might be. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not disagreeing with it. Write it all up. Send a letter to council. Let's get it on the agenda.
Well, I think we should take ARC money and pay for the sign.
Get some bids and the
Yeah, I'll get
sizes.
a bid.
Get some bids and the sizes. And bring
You
them
gonna
to
do
us.
that, Ernie?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Okay, now.
And
I
you
know
need
three
sizes
bucks. The
too.
one like you said, you know when you come out the backside where Walmart is, and it's sitting there before you turn on, Finley Road?
Yeah,
It's like that one.
okay. Hey, that's bigger than
So we need to.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to make a comment, what Ernie began line with about outsiders, I don't agree with that. I agree with what the mayor said, you get professionals, and professionals, and you name these people as professionals.
You scored an extra
Pittsburgh,
point.
I heard on the news today, Pittsburgh is having a tough time downtown. They're trying to attract, the news said they're trying to attract people downtown Pittsburgh.
The whole state of Pennsylvania is doing that.
So we're talking about Menneson,
Right,
but just think in terms of Pittsburgh.
right.
They have the same.
No, Pittsburgh got extra. They got a big crime problem. Every day, the 4 or 5 people getting
Get
killed.
shot.
We don't have it here.
Right, and another thing too, Biden has just given out.
People are getting shot
We're
here.
passing some type of law to where teachers are gonna get, teachers and nurses and somebody else is getting a $2,500 credit.
Well, I mean, I
Tax.
know where I live, it's teachers, police.
First responders.
Thank you.
But I'm like, Ms. If I believe in using outsiders also because their attitudes aren't the same as people are living here to their own town. They're apathetic, right? They're apathetic. They're only here because their houses are here. They go other places when they want to go do. So you get people coming here with bright ideas. Gotta use them if they're willing to come.
They go other places because they have to, because we have nothing here.
Right. I'm not even talking about jobs or big things, but
Well, I'm just talking about if you even want other than Italian bread.
Right,
If
right.
you want challah, if you want, brioche, if you want olive bread, where you gonna go get that? Not here.
help us out.
Aldi has it.
I went to a
Uh,
grocery
the-
store in
Hey,
New
Larry.
York City.
The left side of the room here wanted to bring up the drug problem in our city.
Okay.
That's a very good one.
Are you working with the state police, the Westmoreland? I know our police cannot handle that type of stuff. We need more help than that.
They're not doing
That
it.
has to come from Westmoreland County, the state police, the FBI or whoever. But
Right. It's a
wiping
major
out
problem.
drugs in our city would do a lot to help us. Like you said, no deaths in Menneson. We have had deaths in Menneson.
Yeah.
Not, no, but we've had, not a lot, but
There's been 5
we've had
ODs.
some.
There's been
That's-
5 ODs last
that's
year
one of
in
our
the city.
main
No,
issues
there's
also.
probably 4 this year. Cause I know of 2,
They're not,
Last year there was 5.
I'll bet there were more than that, but people didn't
no,
report it.
I know of 2, and they happened in the public housing, senior
Right.
citizen building.
And that's where 2 of them
There's
came.
probably been more than that. I think it could have been, like I'm saying, there's probably more, cause it's never reported
That's what I,
in the paper.
No, this is coming from the police. And, okay,
For 7 years, I've been trying to get Vanessa to take down that junk road by my house at the alley, because that tells them that drugs are up the alley. 7 years I've been trying to get them to take it down. I don't know what else to do.
okay.
that's what it indicates.
It's a marker.
It's a mark. I'll come home and somebody, well, I came home one time,
Didn't know that.
and there was a lady sitting right in front of my house in an SUV. And I sat like a little to the side for a few minutes. So then I pulled up and I looked at her and she said, "Hi." I said, "How long are you gonna be here?" And she says, "Oh, is this your space?" And I said, "Yes." She says, "Okay." And then she left, but then I saw her come back and park on the other side and then get out and walk up the alley. This drugs there.
People have called police in the past repeatedly, and for some reason, they're still dealing.
They did put a
They're all
red back.
dealing. Why are they not doing something about these dealers? I know they're small time, but you get 1, maybe 2 take its place, but you keep after it.
That's not new, I mean.
We
it's been
all
going
know
on a
that,
long
we
time.
all know where drugs exist. I know the police have to know too. Why are they not using the county or whatever is available to try to get some drug busts? We haven't had any.
Well, we've had numerous ones. You may not be hearing about them, but they are having numerous ones.
They should be publicized so people know that some action's being taken. We're surrounded by drugs and drug
We
dealers
see all
and,
the stuff that goes on in McKeesport.
And we're not told about it. We should be I think it should be public knowledge. Let them know our cops are working, doing something besides the normal
They're
coffee
writing
donut.
tickets to
Well, one thing that I can do is I can get the police chief down here and he can give us a presentation on what he is doing
Or not doing.
or not doing. But he does report to me, so that's one advantage I have.
Well, I'd like to know if they're busting people. I'd like to know that. I'd like to know that if they're doing something, if it's only, it's not gonna cure it. It's not going to make it permanent. But by damn, get as many as you can and throw them wherever you wanna throw them and stomp on them. That's what they should do with the dealers. Get them the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I know they have, and they'll continue. And they're the only ones who have any money in town.
Yeah, but they don't have to pay taxes.
They don't either. They're collecting welfare at the same time.
Exactly, and then when they
Oh.
need something, we pay for it.
And it's a truth. There are too many people people don't realize that people are living in neighborhoods where they're afraid to go outside. And this is a mess. And they're afraid to go outside. They're afraid they're gonna have bullets coming through their houses. When I first moved to my place, it was terrible. And I called and I called and I called, and it took everybody on our street calling just constantly every day, calling the police up there to make those people move up out of there. Because you couldn't even come home without 10 or 15 people sitting next to the house, and that got to be too much. But people in Menneson are still living that way, and then calling cops, but it took like 2 years for us. Who wants to live like that for 2 years? It does have to change. It has to change.
the same thing that happened up on 14th Street.
Right. Believe me, I've been talking to them because I lived it, so I know what they're going through, and no one should have to live that way.
No.
It has
They
to.
did finally get one
Right,
family
right,
out of there.
right.
But there's another issue.
Right. And something has to stop. People shouldn't have to live like
And
that.
there are drugs probably on every block in this town. Every block, not just downtown where the
Well, I can tell you
slum
where there's
area is.
not.
They're everywhere.
Not below my water tower.
I wouldn't put it past. It just, because
I don't
they're
know what
everywhere.
goes on above the water tower, but I know it ain't going on below the water tower.
No, they're not on my
Oh,
street.
you're lucky.
I don't feel like I'm afraid. It's quiet, but I know that I think they're walking up to read or something.
Some people are afraid because they've had bullets come through their houses, so they're afraid. Yeah.
I have a solution. I've been watching a lot of Western movies. Why don't we have bounty hunters? Yeah, put $500 on each drug person. They'll clean them up.
Let's see, this guy on Rex, can we get a bounty on him?
I don't know, I just think we thought you were
No,
That needs
you
to be
put
addressed.
bounty hunters
It
into
does.
it.
I mean, it needs to be addressed.
But it is. It's just,
Did anyone else?
anybody else got anything you want to talk about?
Anyone else have any suggestions too to help with that? Well, that's why I said, anybody have any suggestions that we can take and go with? Right, we don't want to just talk.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we taking away from this meeting?
Well, I've got a list here. We need to talk about the demo hearings and make it better known. We need to talk about the markers on the power lines. Need to get a police report on what the police are doing. I've been taking some notes here.
Okay, good, because, it, I have one other suggestion. Maybe if people come involved, maybe council needs to set up like a schedule where you go to the different bad areas, in the residential areas that these people are talking about where you live. Say, Saturday afternoon, you put up a schedule and you say, meet the mayor, meet the council, just like for an hour.
one of the things,
Maybe you'll get some interest, maybe you'll get some people to the meetings.
maybe, it's not a bad idea.
I know, like, in management, you've got like a gazillion things you're trying to handle. And you're hearing so many of us bombarding you with everything, you know, concerns and worries. But maybe that's, you want people to get involved, this lady has to be a citizen's advocate right here. You have to, you know, be an advocate for all these people.
I've been trying ever since I've been back here.
Okay, so one more committee was that. But anyhow, Mayor, we said thank you. Getting rid of the blight, I think, is your number one priority. You don't get rid of this trash, this blight, no one's gonna enjoy town. Right. No, they're just gonna drive right through like this.
Right now, we have the county helping us with that, and I say, let's get it done.
Get it done in some of these areas, these neighborhoods are really run down. Some nice homes up there. I hear so often, we're in talk. I hear so often from people coming back to visit, parents. They say, boy, I would love to move back to the valley. But, so maybe should be some enticement to come back to the valley, like this lady and that lady. Come back to the valley and want to live out after you retire or something.
You know, one of the most enlightening things I did was campaigning to become mayor, because I would knock on doors and I would meet people, and I got a lot of ideas, like a lot of things from doing that. And even during this initial primaries, I was collecting signatures. I would have been knocking on doors and doing that. I think that's something I need to continue doing every time I get a chance. Now, this weekend's cold, but
Promises kept.
absolutely, absolutely.
May I tell you a couple of comments I heard about you knocking on the door?
Please do.
I think they're funny, but I guess they really weren't. This came from a couple of, not that I'm not older, but they were older. And they saw you come up, that there's this big guy with this big old hat on. I was good at that, you know, I didn't wanna go near the door.
Better take the hat off.
You didn't knock on my door.
I knocked on a lot of doors. I had to knock on all of them, but I tried.
Yeah.
There's a lot of houses.
Can't hit 'em all.
It takes it takes a long time. My legs aren't that good.
Don't wear that hat anymore.
I wear the hat because I've had melanoma in the past.
Well, put a baseball cap or something.
Would you think I'd look better in a baseball cap than a cowboy hat?
Well, that's
People know me because of the cowboy hat.
Love the cowboy hat, but I mean, when they saw they
Not everybody in town wears a goofy hat like I do. I just
Well, it ain't goofy.
yeah.
cowboy stuff.
We have magnetic signs for your car. And you put that on your car, those magnetic signs, and, you know, and then when you pull in, you know, in front of someone's house, they know it's you.
Yeah, put Mayor Manessa.
Well, the first year when I was running for mayor, nobody knew who I was. Now I walk up and to the door, everybody knows who I am because I've been on newspaper and everywhere else. It is, but I need to keep doing that. I'm getting old. I don't like going out when it's 20 degrees, though. I want it to be a little bit warmer.
What did you say about the alleys? Because it would be nice to be, I have to decide how much destruction I want to my vehicle, which part of the alley do I come to so I can get to the
Well,
side of my house.
you got grass in your house.
Yeah, but, you know, you can't even go that.
There's many alleys in this town that are not passable. It's a problem.
I mean, if you come off of McKee Way and turn up by Wayman, it goes like this.
Oh, just before you get to Wayman, you make up.
Go like that. But if you come in from the Reed side, you can't go. You can't get around that bend.
I can come down to my house, but I have to decide how much I want my vehicle to go through.
The only real problem I have is that we've got public streets that are pretty bad too. There are public streets that are just horrific.
Excuse me, but somehow you found the money to name every alley a name, give every alley a name, which is blowing my mind.
I did that?
Well, I don't know who did it. They found the money to name every alley, which is like ridiculous.
Well, they were forced to do that, were they not?
I have no idea. It was before me.
Something to do with the fire department, I thought. That's my guess. I don't so they know where to go to the fire.
Mike's face.
That's what I,
Nobody's living in those areas.
that's what I was
Well,
told.
there are some people living, I discovered that there is some people living, in alleys where their house faces an alley, which I couldn't understand why it was such a big deal with something that we had to take care of on the zoning board, which is ridiculous. You know, I mean, there's some things that we do, and Menneson is just
Maybe the
wrong.
ambulance.
So you're saying there's bad, there's a lot of
One
streets
of
where
those.
people are living and the streets are bad.
Oh, yes.
Those are the problems.
Yeah.
There's some horrific
I
streets in
saw
this
something
town.
I didn't, I told, I went to over where Lenaway and all those places are, and I had to take someone home, and so otherwise I never go that way. And I said, here we are complaining about our streets. If you would go to some neighborhoods and see the roads that they have to drive on, and they have to be tearing up their cars
It
over
took
by
me
Lenaway.
5 years to get mine
Right,
fixed.
that's what I'm
5
saying,
years.
and yet I told myself I can't complain about my street, even though I think it has ruts on everything, but I'll never complain about my street again until those streets get fixed. Remember how McKee was? They had those gutters. They still have some brick roads over there, and they have gutters, and I couldn't decide which way to go because I didn't know which. So there are neighborhoods that are living in their streets are not even passable.
I was concerned that that was gonna be a sinkhole.
So that's what I mean. Where there are neighborhoods that like before we even get to the alleys, people are living on their main streets that they can't even travel on. So, and my problem was, how come they're not coming complaining about it? Because I complained when I went there. Right. And but they're not, I'm saying, why aren't you coming complaining? Because I complain about mine, but I'll never complain again because they need to come and complain. I would have never known if I didn't drive somebody home that day. So if I didn't, how would I know? And I came back, first thing I did was say, we need to get them on the streets to be fixed soon. But if nobody tells you, it's squeaky oil, the squeaky wheel gets the
I
oil.
know, Linda thought I was terrible because I was like, I'm fighting for McKee. And she said, no, you can fight for the city. I said, no, these people are sitting around here all these years not fighting for themselves. I'm fighting for my street.
Yeah, people have to start
Yeah,
showing
'cause
up.
I had to fight for my street,
Yeah,
then I had to fight for the second part of my street.
yeah, but there are some people who aren't fighting for
But I
nothing.
still had
The
to
only
use
thing
it.
I'd like to fight for on my street is I could spit faster than my water pressure. And I see the tank, this great big water tank, and I don't get any of it.
Blue water tank.
Oh,
But is that the city or is there something going on with your pipes?
I don't get any water pressure. They told me that the house is too close, which makes no sense, too close to the water tower, so it doesn't have time to build.
You're too high.
Oh, no, that's.
There's not enough fill.
Nancy, that is wrong, because, wait a minute, I have a water tower that's 20 feet from me.
I know you do, and that's
And
why
we
mine
have-
isn't that far either.
I know where you live, and like I'm saying, my water pressure is fine.
Oh, it's horrible.
So you know,
Horrible.
you need to make the water come out there and give you a
I'm gonna
new
have to call it again and again,
You
because
need to
it's
tell them to come out,
ridiculous.
do an inspection and give you a new line.
You know, when you.
Well, did you check with your neighbors? Do they have
They're not as
regular?
bad as mine. It's not great.
Yeah,
Well,
anytime.
my next door neighbor, when I used their hose one time, and, oh, you have a lot of water pressure. No, it's not. I did try mine. Yeah, it's a little better, but it's.
I'll tell you what, let's, does anybody have anything else they really want to bring forward and make a statement about? I think it's getting to be almost 8 o'clock. I'm getting old.
I got a question. Who's paying for the new telephone pole
Where?
by the library?
I assume Sean Penn is, or Sean Buffa.
So the city's not paying for that telephone pole?
No. I know the city's not paying for it, but I assume it was Sean that.
All right, I
And
don't
so
wanna
the
see it,
plan is,
I don't wanna
once we
see it on
clean
the
up
bill.
like Ninth Street, get that all cleaned up, then we can start building neighborhoods that branch off of there, cause you can't say anything about it until that's cleaned up.
Let me tell you a real quick little story. There's a nonprofit guy that came into town, and he's been working with us for quite some time. And I'd go to his meetings every time he'd come into town. And these meetings would get to be bigger and bigger. And there were lunch meetings held at By George's. And one time I sit down at the table, and there's a guy right across from me, and I start talking to this guy. He happens to sit on this board that sits between Congress in Washington, D.C. and HUD. And when Congress says, here's $10 billion that goes to HUD, this small board that this guy's on would say, okay, we're going to give this much to Pennsylvania, this much to Arizona, this much to California, blah, 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 and this much will be used for housing, this much will be used for whatever. Massive amount of money. Money that I can't even imagine. This guy's in Menneson.
One man.
One man. Now, no, he's part of a group. He's part of a committee that does this. Now, this guy, he happened to be black, which has nothing to do with anything. But anyway, we take him for a ride through town, and we show him what Menneson is. And we end up at Linden Park because that's where this guy wanted to build his houses. Was on Linden Park, where the old Linden School used to be. And the guy's talking about building these little houses there, and he's trying to give a presentation about it. This guy that I'd met across the table wasn't paying a lick of attention to Matt. He was not paying a bit of attention. He taps me on the shoulder and he says, Ron, that house over there, that house over there, that house over there, they're blighted. They got to go. Somebody's living in this house over here. We got to find a way to get them some money to do something with it. The point being is, he goes back, he says, Build Back America needs to start in a place like Menneson. He goes back to wherever he came from, and I don't hear from him anymore, but only thing I'm thinking is HUD, because he's talking about all the money that goes to HUD. It's the HUD office in Pittsburgh that came to Menneson and assigned us 2 teams. One team is a financial team that can help get the finances straight, make sure that our budget's good, find new sources of revenue for us, those kinds of things. And the other one is a team that does development, to bring in new businesses to do things. The point being is, we're doing things. We're trying to get things going. We've got some opportunities. Those people came in and they met with all the council. They met with several different people, interviewed business people around town. They went back. I expect them to come back to Menneson within the next couple of weeks, to be honest. It'll be soon. They are people that can bring help to Menneson. These are people that know what kinds of things HUD can do for us and what they can't. We've been talking to DCED. This is the federal government.
That sounds hopeful.
It is. It's very hopeful, and it's very positive. It's things that are happening.
Can that be an open forum also, or a public meeting?
They will be here for a council meeting for sure, but absolutely, I'll try to get them to one of our town halls to talk to everybody. Absolutely.
Well, how come we couldn't do that at the council?
We can do both.
I heard some time ago that they were talking about property, well, my favorite is non-tax paying people. But the property at Park Manor is so valuable because of the location. They were saying that they should be able to level that and open it up to private homes.
And then where would they go?
That was the side of
Did you say, wait a minute, Nancy, did you say Park Manor or Highland?
No, Park Manor.
Park Manor, that's up by City Park.
Yeah.
Well, I understood they didn't want the housing project up there anyway.
No, that's what I heard too.
As I understand it, the county housing authority, which is the ones that owns all these high rises that you keep talking about, have determined that these big apartment complexes that they've had in the past really don't work well. It just doesn't address the problems that they see. They're trying. That's what they're doing up here at Highland. They're removing that. They want to put up duplexes, quadplexes, and things like that. Smaller homes that people can go into rather than these big apartment complexes.
You're not doing that to Highland Manor.
Yes.
How
I
do you
didn't
get
hear that.
people to have pride in where they live? That's the thing that I don't get. It's one thing maybe to be poor, that has nothing to do with keeping your property neat and clean.
One thing I think if you start, because there were just a few of on the street, I would just start cleaning my street. And then you have people just thanking you for it, but then you have other people that go out and start doing it. but somebody has to start on each neighborhood. And sure, you might get tired of it, but if you do it now, I feel so you can ride down the street and hardly see any paper. People care. But somebody has to start, and it starts with your own little block. Starts with your block. Yeah, right.
That's too, but just, I have seen.
Tell them about your April 23rd.
Actually spent all day on.
Oh, I know,
Main Street
and then
Park,
the next day,
and in an
right,
hour or two,
right.
It's back,
Right.
people throwing stuff
Right.
out the window, McDonald's and Burger King.
But you just gotta start with your neighborhood. And like you said, like I think someone said, it starts from the alley out, but start with your neighborhood. You do your neighborhood and they do theirs, pretty soon the whole block, the whole quarter is done. But it's not once a month. You gotta at least commit to doing it at least once a month. Because that way it stays that way, and eventually it'll get that way. But you have to continually do it. You can't just do it on cleanup day and think it's gonna stay that way the whole year. It's gotta be done once a month, at least.
But come spring and it warms up a little bit, Lois has also organized an April 23rd,
22nd.
22nd as a cleanup day for Menneson. Now, that's not the only day we need to clean up,
Yeah,
but
you do it once a month.
but
Yeah,
you know,
there's
we need.
groups of us that it won't just be cleanup day. We'll just say, hey, what about this weekend? And 3 or 4 of us will go get another block. You have to do that
Take care of the planner bosses.
downtown. Somebody has to commit to that. That's what I mean. It's about commitment. If this is your town, we have to commit to it. You know, you make it a commitment. If you got something you want to do, commit to it. Say, hey, I got this. And then somebody else say, I got that. But we have to make commitments. I make a commitment that when the weather is nice and I got some time, I'll go hit a block. It's not even where I live.
I think they should have been made smaller, they're too big.
Yeah, but we need commitment, and it needs more people doing it.
I tried pulling weeds downtown when I was
Right.
working, and I was ridiculed, I was reported.
I'm doing it.
What, because our meter man was pulling weeds?
That's good. No. Just, we need more people committed to just working in Menneson and doing more.
Who else has got something new to talk about? Anybody else?
Well,
The sidewalks belong to each house, not the city. Is that true?
No, they belong to the city.
Until something happens.
They belong
Yeah.
to the city.
If they're right away, I don't know how that works.
she's talking about repairing and things like that.
I don't know how that works.
Keep it clean within 48 hours.
Belong to the city, to the city.
Well, the city was supposed to come up and shovel my snow, my sidewalk.
No. No. No, you're responsible for the snow on your own sidewalk. I know that. I don't know how that
But
works.
it's a city sidewalk, why should we be responsible?
Well, I don't care, my sidewalk's only 18 inches, and I don't know why, but it's only 18 inches. I just don't know what happened.
Okay, so.
Let's go home.
Yeah, bring somebody.
Another thing, another way, once we get the right, to make the streets look good is to make sure the sidewalks are good.
Yeah, it's
Weeds.
That gives-
No
that's a whole
weeds.
new-
Oh, I got it.
And this is a
Trees are
question
trimmed.
I asked and no one ever got back to me on. Say like if I replace my sidewalk, right now, it has that section that's grass, and I don't want that. Can it all be concrete? Cement, whatever.
If it's the cities, you have to get permission.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about on the edge of the street. Yeah, on the edge of the street.
Because the other side of,
Has none.
McKee
Yeah, they have no grass.
doesn't have it, and it looks
Right.
very clean. Yeah.
Because
That's
not everybody
interesting.
cuts their grass on that little section
Right,
either.
it looks terrible.
I don't know how that
That's
works.
not bad, you go
I
to
don't
the
know.
second
I don't know
part of
either.
the key and it's worse.
Well, the other side, yeah, but on
You
the
go to
other,
the other
across
side.
the
I know where you're
board,
talking,
they
yeah,
don't have it.
yeah. I know. Yeah, that's a good question.
As a matter of fact, there's this.
I'll try to find that out. That's a good question. I don't know the answer to it.
'Cause I just did.
Okay, that's a good question.
I added it to my list.
So then I can call the street department to come up and shovel my snow.
Yeah, and find out if that's something that the city is responsible for.
Well, listen, everybody have a very blessed evening
Bring
and
somebody
be safe
next
and all
time.
those kinds of things. Bring somebody else next time.
You know, one of the reasons they're not coming, it's no fun anymore, there's no fun for it.
But yet we have
This
more
is-
people here
this
than we
is
have on a
good.
city council
This is
meeting.
good.
This is
And
good.
believe me, he wrote everything down, and we're gonna address it too.
Yeah,
It's a good thing. It's a good energy.
it's council meetings, 'cause it's no fun anymore.
Well, that,
Well, maybe.
I
Me
I like people
either.
who work together to do something.
Yeah, me too.
I do too. I'm serious, that's what I was told.
That's
Well, you're probably right. People want to see some excitement.
That's what they
They
say.
don't
People
care
come
about
to-
it.
In fact, I've been told the fewer people you have at city council meetings, the better job you're doing.
Well, that might be, that's a good point, because obviously there's no fighting.
There's no
They
fighting?
want to see the show. Our people at work say, I'm ready for the shit show. I said, what? They said, yeah, that's what we look forward to the show. I said, well, I
So
don't want to
you
bring
heard the
nobody to
same,
the
you heard
show.
the same
I
thing.
don't want to bring nobody.
Takes all kinds.
I like something.
Well, thank you, everybody, for coming. I enjoyed it.